All right, so we're diving into something today that sounds like straight out of science fiction. Picture this. Amazon, Google, all the big tech players, but they're buying up nuclear power plants.
It might sound crazy, but it's really not as wild as you think.
I mean, at Fremont, it's like a digital gold rush, but instead of gold, it's energy.
Exactly. And the tech industry's got to have energy. I mean, a ton of it. Think about it. Massive data centers, AI on the rise. It all
Uh-huh.
takes power, and it's only going to need more.
So you're telling me all those data centers storing like our photos and videos and
So
everything?
yeah, all that. They're already using something like 2% of the entire world's electricity.
No way. Seriously?
Yeah. And get this, with AI getting bigger, that number, it's going way up.
Okay, hold up. So like every time I'm watching Netflix, I'm basically powering a nuclear reactor. This is getting kind of freaky.
Well, that's what we're going to figure out today.
Yeah, like why are these tech companies going nuclear? What's that going to mean for, the future?
First, we got to understand the size of the problem. Like, just one big data center can use as much power as a whole city.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then add in the energy to train and run these crazy AI models, and the numbers are, well, they're huge. Some people think by 2040, data centers for AI could use more electricity than all the houses in the U.S. combined.
Wow. That's a lot of power. I thought switching to LED light bulbs was doing something.
It helps, but yeah, with this kind of demand, it makes sense that companies are looking at everything, even nuclear.
And I guess it's not just how much energy, but what kind, right?
Right, they need something they can count on.
So like solar and wind are great, but they're not always there.
Exactly, it depends on the weather.
But nuclear power is steady.
It's like having their own power plant always on no matter what.
I can see why that's appealing.
Yeah, especially with how much money they lose if things go offline.
Okay, but what about the environment?
Good point. We got to talk about that. Nuclear has its own issues, right?
Yeah, and don't forget all the water these data centers need just to stay cool.
You're right, water's a big deal. Servers make a lot of heat. To keep them cool, you need a ton of water flowing through.
How much are we talking?
Get this, by 2027, just AI data centers could use as much water as half of the United Kingdom.
No way.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So every time you ask ChatGPT something or stream a video,
It's like pouring a glass of water down the drain.
yikes. So we're using more energy A&D, putting a strain on water? Sounds kind of dystopian, right?
It's a challenge for sure. But the tech world is, well, they're good at coming up with new stuff. They're working on ways to make things better.
Like what?
Like Microsoft, they're trying out ways to cool data centers without using any water.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then there's the idea of moving more AI processing to devices, like our phones and laptops.
So instead of these giant server farms, we could have AI running right in our pockets.
It could happen.
But then wouldn't we have a whole new set of problems with privacy and security?
Yeah, that's another thing to think about.
Speaking of things to think about, let's take a step back for a minute.
Okay.
We're talking about a few companies, right? Controlling a ton of data, and now maybe the energy that powers, well, everything we do online.
Yeah, it is a lot of power in a few hands.
So is this progress, or are we in a sci-fi movie gone wrong?
That's a tough question. There are good things to consider, like if they can get nuclear power going again, maybe it'll help us move away from fossil fuels, right? That'd be good for the climate. But we got to be careful about monopolies. We need rules to make sure they use energy and resources the right way.
It feels like we're at this turning point. On one hand, we got these amazing technologies that could solve big problems. But then we got these powerful companies with their hands on essential stuff, like energy and water. And their influence is just going to grow as AI gets, smarter and needs more power.
You're right. And that leads to the big question. As AI gets more powerful, who controls the energy that fuels it? And what does that mean for everyone else? That's something we need to figure out now.
Yeah, before it's too late.
And this actually brings us to another part of this whole energy scramble.
What do you mean?
It's not just about getting the energy we already have.
Right.
It's also about coming up with brand new technologies, things to power the AI of the future.
Okay, so we're talking more than just nuclear plants.
Yeah.
What else are these companies looking into? This is a lot to keep up with.
Well, have you heard of NVIDIA?
Yeah. They make those graphics cards, right?
Exactly. Those GPUs gamers love. But now they're leading the way in making these special AI chips. And get this, they're designed to be super energy efficient.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking maybe even using 90% less power compared to the old chips.
Hold on. So the company that makes those crazy graphics for video games is helping us make AI more sustainable.
Kind of funny, right? It shows you how innovation can come from anywhere. Think of these AI chips, like super efficient brains. They process information really fast, really accurately, but they don't use much energy.
So it's like technology solving a problem that technology created.
Exactly. Pretty ironic, right?
Yeah, but also kind of hopeful.
Definitely. And while we're talking about cool solutions, remember those underwater data centers we
Oh,
mentioned?
yeah, those are still kind of blowing my mind. Like giant servo farms chilling on the ocean floor.
Sounds like sci-fi, I know, but Microsoft is actually testing them out.
No way.
Yeah, they're using the cold ocean water to keep the servers cool. It's still early days, but it shows they're thinking outside the box, which is what we need.
Wow. So we could have like these underwater cities of data powering our AI. That's kind of creepy, but also amazing.
It is pretty wild.
So it seems like the future of AI, it's tied to the future of energy, right? And that future is being decided right now by, well, everyone, tech companies, governments, even us.
Absolutely. And this is where the conversation changes a bit. We have to go from just the technology itself to, well, what it means to have all this power in just a few hands.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's easy to get excited about new gadgets and AI, but we can't forget about the downsides. What happens when these companies are just focused on making money and they make choices that, hurt people or the planet?
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Like, imagine if energy becomes something they use to control things,
Yeah,
like to influence politics or stop competition.
exactly. Or what about those communities where they build these massive data centers?
Right, that could put a strain on their resources, their water, everything.
Right, and we've already seen how countries use things like oil and gas to gain power. So is it crazy to think the same thing could happen with energy in the digital age? Are we
Yeah.
just handing over control to a few tech giants? And if so, what can we do about it?
Yeah. It's like we used to worry about oil, and now it's data and energy.
Kind of, yeah.
And it all comes back to these big tech companies.
It does make you wonder, right? Like we've seen countries use oil to, get what they want.
Mm,
Could the same thing happen with these tech companies controlling the energy for like the whole digital world?
that's a little scary, to be honest. So what can we do? It feels like things are moving so fast.
Well, we're not totally powerless. I mean, think about it. We're consumers, right? We have choices. Well, we can choose to support companies that, are doing things the right way.
So do our research.
Exactly. Look into their energy policies, see if they're actually trying to be sustainable, check their track record on, well, all the important stuff.
So we got to be smart about where we spend our money
Yeah, it sends a message. And beyond that, we need to work together.
to hold these companies accountable.
Right. There are groups out there pushing for responsible AI, fighting for stricter rules on data centers and energy use. We can support them. We can talk to our elected officials, make our voices heard.
So it's not about like hating technology or being afraid of progress.
No, not at all. It's about making sure these tools are used to help everyone, not just make a few people rich or powerful.
Yeah, it's about making sure we build a digital world that works for everyone, right? One that doesn't destroy the planet in the process.
Exactly. We have to remember the future of AI, it's tied to the future of energy. And we all have a say in what that future looks like.
So to everyone listening, next time you're online, think about the energy that's making it all happen and ask yourself, what kind of future do I want? What choices can I make to make sure this digital world is, sustainable and fair for everyone?
That's the real question, isn't it? Because the future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's something we're building right now with every choice we make.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned something about this whole AI and energy thing.
It's a big topic, and it's just getting started.
Yeah, keep asking questions, keep learning, and let's build a future we can all be proud of.